The release of a new Pixar movie at my house is a holiday. I'm not even kidding. It's a big deal. We celebrate it. We call it Pixar Day. We all go to the new movie. I mean, we don't have a Pixar tree with presents under it for the morning or anything, but it's pretty close. So it's a big deal. Brave came out, new Pixar movie. What would it be like? Well, Brave follows the story of a young girl, the first, in fact, heroine of a Pixar movie, and her story as, I guess, she attempts to navigate what it's like to be a princess but not want to be a princess, to fight with her mom, all that kind of stuff. And of course there's ins and outs of the plot that I don't want to give away just because I don't want to spoil any of the fun that you might have with this movie. Now, when it's a Pixar movie, it has a lot to live up to in my book. I mean, these are some of the best movies of all time. I think of movies like recently Toy Story 3 or any of the Toy Story movies. I think of movies like Up and Ratatouille and Finding Nemo and The Incredibles, and I have a special place in my heart for these filmmakers, and that's why this is difficult. For the second time in a row, I come away, I think, a little more disappointed than enjoying it. Now, that's hard because Brave is a great movie. I really believe it is, but it's not a Pixar movie. It just doesn't feel as wonderful and as emotional as a lot of those classics. It's really kind of a straight point A to point B kind of story. There aren't a lot of surprises in it. When I'm watching a Pixar movie, usually I love the story because I never know where it's going to go next, and I don't know where they're going to take me to get there. This is a movie you pretty much understand where it's going, how you're going to get there. There's no real dramatic tension to it. You don't believe any of the drama is going to result in anything that you don't approve of or don't like. You know how it's going to end. And because of that, it just feels a little bit different. Now, let me focus on some good things. Number one, this may be the most beautiful animated movie ever made, period. It is gorgeous. I mean, you have to see it on the big screen just to see the work that's been put into this thing and how beautiful it is, the colors, the vibrancy, this world fully realized. It's also really funny. There are several characters in this movie that I found really, really humorous. The three little brothers, just to name some, as well as many of the periphery characters as well, really lightened up the mood, and I had a good time with that. I will say about the humor, it's a lot more juvenile than I'm used to with a Pixar movie. Maybe that was another thing that put me out. I'm used to that from the Shrek movies and maybe some of the DreamWorks fare, but not necessarily from Pixar. In fact, it featured the first Pixar nudity. There are naked bottoms in this movie. Lots of them, actually, in 2 instances. But again, that was kind of the feel of this movie. Burp jokes, a little rear-end nudity, a little, and this is in the trailer, the pulling of the kilt to show the rear end to, you know, people just to rub it into them or whatever. It's just different. I'm not used to that from Pixar. And maybe they were trying to make a point about Scottish culture and the barbarism of the medieval times. I don't know. I think that may be giving them a little too much credit. I think it's just some of those things that throw it off. Overall, it really is a good movie. There's an amazing theme in this movie. If I had to highlight one other positive thing, the theme about mothers and daughters is really, really powerful. And it did get me. I did get emotional in this movie, which is more than can be said for Cars 2. Cars 2, which I still consider probably the worst Pixar movie ever made. Again, good movie, just for Pixar, just didn't enjoy it. Brave probably falls in that lower tier of Pixar movies for me as well. But that theme of mother-daughter, kind of getting through that relationship and figuring it out is very powerful in this movie. And there's this wonderful metaphorical spin that it puts on it that I'm not going to give away just in case you want to see it with fresh eyes. But it really fits the theme well, and I really enjoyed that part of the movie. Overall, Brave just isn't what I want from a Pixar movie. It wasn't made by one of the main Pixar names. It's the first movie they've made that didn't have the name Lasseter, Doctor, you know, Brad Bird, or Andrew Stanton. You know, one of the Pixar main guys didn't. It wasn't their movie. It was written by somebody outside of kind of that Pixar family, so maybe a lot of that has a lot to do with it, and it just didn't live quite up to expectations. I will say this, however, the short before it, La Luna, is perfection. It is beautiful, and if you go to this movie, I would say go see it, if not just for that short alone to see on the big screen. It is fabulous, emotional, wonderful, and perfect. Brave, not perfect. Great, but not Pixar.